Good morning. I'm Lily Klebanoff Blake, and I'm honored to be speaking at this TEDx presentation at Hunter College High School, which I proudly attended from the 7th through the 12th grades, when it was an all-girls school, and which, along with Mount Holyoke, the first college to provide higher education for women, which I attended after Hunter, had a great impact on my views about the empowerment of women. I am going to speak about the tipping point, why women will lead the world of tomorrow. At a time of concern about the potential scarcity of global resources, the one resource we have in abundance and which we are significantly underutilizing is women. The world population of more than 7 billion people is about evenly divided by gender, although there are significant differences by country. Globally, it's about 101 men to about 100 women. However, only 40% of the global adult workforce is composed of women, and often women tend to be in the lowest ranking jobs. Statistics vary by country, from a low of about 15% of women in the workforce in Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Tajikistan, and the UAE, to a high of over 50% in the Baltic countries and 46% in the United States. This disenfranchisement of women from the labor market, although based on local cultural practices and individual choices, severely limits the opportunities available to women to earn income to support themselves and their families, and to advance up the economic ladder. Microfinance programs in Asia and Latin America, such as Grameen and Axion, have been able to create and elevate the income streams for women through the use of microloans to develop and grow individual businesses. The default rates on these loans tends to be very low, about 1%. This is significantly lower than the non-performing loan portfolio of American banks, which averaged 3.9% in 2012, according to the World Bank. Microloans to women are a low-risk business with remarkable economic and social impact. These new income streams have allowed women to further expand their individual businesses and to support and significantly improve the lives of their families. While women often use the proceeds of their earnings to provide for their families, that is unfortunately not frequently the case with men. From my work in emerging markets and my travels around the world with business delegations of the Financial Women's Association, it is clear that women's issues are universal. We all have to deal with the same things: how to support ourselves and our families, how to negotiate with the cultural confines and strictures of our respective cultures, and how, if we are lucky, to be able to make choices to the best use of our talents. When I first visited the Soviet Union for business in 1989, I naively thought that since Soviet propaganda spoke about the equality of the sexes, I would find that women were of an equal status to men. How gullible. Instead, I found that women were often relegated to serving coffee and tea during meetings. Although they may have had an education equal to that of the men, rarely did they rise to a significant leadership position, as I would have expected, in what I thought would be a gender-neutral world. Granted, there were exceptions, but that was not the common practice. In Italy and Turkey, where I led business delegations for the Financial Women's Association, women's roles and advancement in business was limited, except for leadership in family-owned businesses. Moreover, general practices in the education and rearing of children often severely limited the opportunities open to women. For example, in Switzerland, children must come home from school for lunch, a practice that went by the boards many years ago in the United States with the increased participation of women in the workforce. This severely restricts the options available to women, as public child care is quite limited. Recently, a vote was taken in Switzerland to change this practice, and allow children to stay in school for lunch. That measure, unfortunately, was roundly defeated, requiring that school children continue to go home for lunch on a daily basis. This seemingly small measure, in reality a crucial social policy, has dramatic ramifications on women's ability to compete in the workplace and erodes their economic benefits by essentially mandating that they maintain their historic role in childcare. Despite these historic restrictions and cultural prohibitions, there have been significant advances in the empowerment of women, particularly in the United States. Let's take a look at the situation in the United States. While the number of women enrolled in U.S. colleges has steadily increased to more than 50% of all students, only 3% of CEOs in Fortune 500 companies are women. Women account for only 7.6% of top corporate earners and 14.4% of executive officer positions. 15.7% of the members of corporate boards are women, and only 16.6% of the members of Congress are female. Although progress has been made, it's been slow and doesn't reflect the vast purchasing power of women and their influence on consumer spending. 80% of all decisions on consumer purchases are made by women. 50% of the decisions on car purchases are made by women. And women represent more than 50% of all individual shareholders. To better develop products which meet the needs of women purchasers, ensure that corporations become more sensitive to their customers, and benefit from the untapped talents of women, many corporations are already developing programs to attract, retain, and advance women executives. The best corporations implement proactive programs to maximize this large, underutilized resource, women. These include programs to identify and promote talent, mentoring and sponsorship programs, the provision of prestigious job assignments, valuing leadership in a company's women's networks, and very importantly, holding executives accountable for advancing the metrics of these measures. The data shows that investing in women makes good business sense. Corporations with 3 or more women on their boards and with a strong cadre of senior female managers provide an increase of return on equity of 53%, an increase of return on sales of 42%, an increase of return on invested capital of 66%. That's the impact of just having 3 women on a board and more women in senior management. Amazing, amazing figures. These are impressive numbers which support the observations that diverse teams are stronger, more creative, and innovative, and also more risk-averse. The EDGE, formerly known as the Gender Equality Project, a Swiss firm, has developed a global instrument to measure gender equality on a corporate-wide basis. I am proud to say that I am a member of the Global Advisory Council. This new and exciting certification system is being used by 18 global corporations to determine their level of gender equality and to develop action plans to improve overall corporate performance in this arena. The above data indicates a clear positive correlation between the number of women on corporate boards and in senior management and stronger corporate performance. Therefore, a concerted effort needs to be made by business to bring more women into the workforce, ensure that they rise to higher executive positions, enhance their opportunities for high visibility assignments, and for further advancement. The additional use and maximization of the participation of women in the labor force will allow women, that underutilized resource, to fuel the engine of the global economy. Once gender parity and the tipping point is achieved, women will take their rightful place as leaders of the world along with men. Thank you.